Man, September ends and the weather is so good. I wish for it like 12 months a year. Hi, hope you're doing fine. This is Eva and you're watching The Casual Bit. Do you know what we eat has an impact on environment? I mean, in West, people are going vegan. In fact, here as well. They say it will save the world, it will save the environment, and it can help curb the climate change. But how is it really going to happen? Plus, what are the downsides of going vegan? And are we Indians ready to afford the fancy vegan diet? But first, who are vegans? So vegans stay 1,000 kilometers away from anything that's derived from animal food, animal products. They're like, no, no, no. For them, it is no milk, no honey, no cheese, no eggs, no butter, no leather, no wool, no nothing. And that's the reality. They only consume plant-based diet and only have plant-based product. So for them, alternatives like soy milk, rice milk, almond milk, oat milk works. And in place of cheese, they have this tofu. So yes, they are happy vegan and all this to save the environment. Well, I'm saying they because I'm not a vegan yet and I don't know whether I'd be ever. So basically, these are vegans and how is it really going to save the environment? So let's begin by saying that we are, increasing in population. UN report says that by 2050, we will be 9 billion. Currently, we are around 7.3 billion. And as population will rise, definitely the demand for food will rise. It is rising. It will not rise. It is rising. So how are we going to produce so much of food for so much of population? And hey, to your surprise, by 2030, India will be the most populous country in the world. Man, can you even imagine? So how are we going to have so much of food? Well, obviously, the forest cover has to reduce to the cropland, to animal farming. And this is the reason that 17% of Amazon forest has been cleared in 50 years. And 91% is only because of animal agriculture. Cattle, buffalo, poultry, and all sort of animal farming. And not only this, 45 to 50% of world's land is dedicated to agriculture. And in that agriculture, 78% of land is solely dedicated for animal farming. And to your surprise, it only takes 1,500, that's 1,500 liters of water to grow 1 kilogram of wheat, over 16,000 liters of water that is required to make 1 kilogram of beef. That's huge, right? Keep that away. Imagine the amount of pollution the livestock farming creates. They are the biggest methane producer. The CH4 gas, that's a greenhouse gas. It acts as an envelope around the globe and traps the heat and giving rise to global warming. And maybe this is why people are going vegan, so as to reduce the demand of animal product, animal derived food. And let's not even talk about the pollution they create, the urine and the fecal material, the water from their maintenance, as it directly goes deep down into the river and, nobody's talking. And why so? I mean, you have to run this industry that's very huge. So if you talk about it and create danger to it, it's not happening. And to maintain the livestock, it's kind of double production of crops, First, the crops for we the people. Secondly, the crops and grains for the livestock. Because if you feed them with grain, they will grow better and faster than if you feed them on grass. So this is also the reason that we have to produce double the amount. Otherwise, the first produce could have been used for human usage or human consumption. And hey, just don't call yourself an animal if you consume vegetarian diet, because you're not an animal, are you? And definitely there are downsides of veganism. A UN report says that if we all go vegan by 2050, we can curb 60% of greenhouse gas emission. Well, that's good. But what about the livelihood? What about the earnings of people who are dependent on agricultural farming, on this industry in poorer countries and developing countries like India, where we rely on agriculture and our exports? It is really going to cost people a lot. And also, they say that people with a vegan diet have health issues. So definitely you're not going to get vitamin B12 by vegan diet. You need to have supplements. Third thing that should concern about veganism is the transportation. When people will go vegan, the demand for vegetable fruits and other plant-based products will increase. So suppose if Brazil has to export its avocado to the world, and it has to because demand will increase, then the burning of fossil fuel because, transportation fuel. So when the demand will increase, the product has to reach to the people, to the masses, and that would obviously require transportation, which in turn will cost the fossil fuel burning, and which in turn will increase the emission of greenhouse gases to the environment. The fourth thing is regarding traditions, the ethics, the culture related to the animal sacrifice, be it Thanksgiving, Eid, or any other rituals. So yeah, those were the positive and the downsides of going vegan. But the thing that should concern is the rising Indian middle class. Are we ready to afford the fancy vegan diet? Sometimes they even, ask you more than a non-vegetarian dish. And we have to, because that seems like a corporate agenda, isn't it? But hey, we vola our dal roti sabzi. But remember, you have to have your dal without tadka, because tadka means ghee, and ghee means you're no vegan. So just think about it. It's really hard. Think about it. I think that is why I'm not vegan yet. I'm thinking. And while you still think, there is one thing that I wanted to tell you for so long, or which is very important about it, is that they say if you are a non-vegetarian, you are no environmentalist. But I say, if you still leave the food in your plate, you are no environmentalist. Just imagine the energy and efforts that's been put throughout the production is now in the dustbin. So, what is the use of education when we do not realize the importance of food? And so, if you still leave the food in your plate, we must end the debate. And hey, it rhymed. So, at least for the sake of rhyming, just think before you waste the food. And that's all about today's video. Hope you have a healthy life and you understand. Until next video, stay woke.